Afternoon, Alien View here, live from Bangkok. Just been sitting around watching news about the Canadian trucker protest, and I watched the news on a couple of these American stations, and I think maybe the only one that's cluing in on this from what I can see. Most of the news anchors in America, they don't know which way Canada is. And most of them, I'm not sure they're bright enough to know what north and south and east and west is. But Tucker did okay. So I got to tell you, I want to give you my alien perspective on it from being here. Now, I got to be honest, I've only lived in Canada for 6 out of the last 20 years. And I've lived in Ontario, and I haven't been around Canada. I have friends in Quebec, I have friends in British Columbia. Everybody is pissed. Everybody's had enough. And it's got nothing to do with COVID. Oh, it has to do with COVID. It has to do with the mandates, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. You have to understand what Canada is. Canada's government is a tyranny. They want to control everything, and there's so many levels. There's a federal government, there's a provincial government, there's a municipal government, you have township governments, you have county governments, you have government this, government that, and every level of government has their own responsibilities. There's a lot of government, which means there's a lot of tax. Now, if you pay a lot of tax, you expect to have good services. You don't. I just got back from 7 months in Canada. I was in Ontario trying to renew my driver's license without having ID that shows my face. I couldn't get it because I couldn't get an appointment to renew my driver's license, which was going to be a 4-step process, even though I haven't reached the time limit of renewal. It's just there's so much bureaucracy, so much BS to do anything there. I did discover something. There's 28 different ways, little cards you can get that show your signature in Ontario, that they'll recognize as ID that you can prove your signature with. But there's only 4. One's a passport, driver's license. You can't prove what your face is on your OHIP card, even there. It's there, I guess, got something to do with some law about medical information. But it was really difficult. I still don't have it. I hope to go home next summer and try and do it again. Anyway, what I call it is, what's going on, what this self-righteous prime minister of ours, I call it the Trudeau tyranny. I think the Canadian government's built on the model of National Socialism. That's what I think. This is my opinion. Okay? There's only one way to stop a tyranny, and that's to be a bigger tyrant. So come on, everybody. If you're fighting now, fight to the end. You're going to have to suffer a little bit, but we have to fight eventually. I hate to fight too. I'm all for peace. But like Canada, that's how I see Canada. I wrote it down so I don't forget. Canada is a place where the government is upper management. They take the money, they get as much money as they can. They tax about everything. You got to remember, Americans, when you spend $100 in Canada, you pay $115. In the poorest provinces, my province, Ontario, it's only a 13% tax. That's one of the things people are pissed off about. They're sick about paying tax and getting no services. It snowed the week before we left Toronto, Ontario, and it was 3 days, and there's still no snowplow on our street. They don't have snowplows anymore. What they do is they spread salt when they think it's going to snow. And I have pictures of it. You want to see them, I'll post them sometime. It's totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. So anyway, they contract the work. They take your money. The governments take, even the city, they take your tax money and then they contract the work out to other companies like the garbage, the roads, cleaning the parks and everything. And you know what? They contract out to the companies where their cronies are the owners, and it's corrupt right from the top to the bottom. Okay, so we know that. They make the laws. I remember a few years ago, maybe a long time ago, David Peterson's government got sworn in, and I remember a little piece in the Toronto Star said, one of the government's first things that they did was they did away with 700,000 laws pertaining to business to make business easier in Ontario. 700,000 laws. Jeez, give me a break. Okay? And we got to remember, if our governments lose money, they don't care because they're not paying for it. So what happens is the government takes your money, they tax the hell out of you, then they contract the work that they promised to do out to other people who are making money, who are friends of theirs. Let's just start. I'm not going to get into who owns what or who owns who. For me, it started when they created the milk board. Way back, I think it was 1974. I was just a kid. My uncle said, "You want to stay on the farm?" Which couldn't milk cows. "You want to stay on the farm and we'll grow pigs." And I didn't want to be a pig farmer for the rest of my life, and I left and he retired. They control the milk. They control eggs. They control pork. They control beef. They control grain. They control your cannabis. And when they decided to make cannabis legal, you can bet. I'd like to know how many of them are invested in the cannabis farms. I know the former police chief of Toronto is a big shot in one of them. They control your booze. They control your electricity and your power. But the most important thing, remember, they control your food. They got control of your food. You, farmers, always said, I grew up a farmer, we had the power. We had the power to stop them. And we didn't do it because Canadians were such nice, passive people. So I love this. I love to see Canadians finally standing up for what they want. Just a couple of things I wanted to remind Ontario taxpayers of. Way back when we built a Dome Stadium downtown in Toronto, it cost the Ontario taxpayer $500 million. Does anybody remember how much our government sold to a really profitable big money company called Rogers? You remember what they paid for that dome? I'll remind you, $25 million, okay? And the excuse of the government at the time, it was costing them too much money to maintain the building. So they sold it for, like, I read 4% of what they spent to build it. Okay? Remember the 407. That's another thing. Ontario people paid for this highway to go across the northern part of Ontario, of Toronto, get you from one side, Scarborough, out to Mississauga faster. They sold it, and I remember they sold it to a German company. Now you have to pay to drive on it. You paid for that highway. Okay? It isn't a democracy if we don't take it back. We don't have to do it by fighting. We don't buy anything. Don't buy anything you don't absolutely need. Hit them where it hurts them. Without the money, without the income, they can't do anything, and all that's coming from you, okay? So remember, every time you buy something, you take care of your needs, but those wants, make them wait. Suffer a little bit, make them suffer. Or you're going to suffer more, guaranteed. And I leave you with one question. Well, I was in Ontario, I could never figure it out. Why am I paying sales tax when I'm buying? You'd think you'd be paying the people that sell it, that are making the profit, could pay the tax. They don't do it that way. The people who are buying it, the poor buggers that don't have any money, us people on paychecks, we're the ones that pay the government the tax. Are they double dipping? Are the people that are selling our products to us, are they paying tax and then we pay tax to buy it? What kind of government is that? I don't want to give it a name, but I damn sure wouldn't call it a democracy. So America, when you see this, think about it. 82% of our exports go to America. Without America, Canada's nothing. And I maintain that that's what Justin's doing to us right now. He's bringing Canada down. I think he's already called in the American troops. And I just, watch out, people, watch out, because the Yankees are coming. be aware. Be aware. They're not going to let that bridge interfere with American interests. Think about what they've done all over the rest of the world to protect American interests. You think it's going to stop? It isn't going to stop. Watch out. North American Union on the way. Love Canada. Proud to be a Canadian. I'd even wave my flag, but it's over there. Peace out.